Hey folks, I'm not sure how good your memory is because it almost feels like a lifetime has passed by since then because of everything crazy going on in the world right now. But remember a long time ago, about 2 weeks ago to be exact, when the bridge collapsed in Baltimore after being struck by the cargo ship? Remember how scary those videos were? I'll never drive over a bridge the same way again. And I was shocked by how, the bridge just immediately, the entire bridge just came down upon impact. The entire bridge just like that. Boom! A very scary situation. Well, folks, you'll never guess what is going on now. Well, maybe you will guess because of the title of this video, but from my understanding, the ship has not moved a single inch. It's still sitting there in the water with pieces of the bridge on top of it. Well, this morning, FBI agents boarded that ship. As it sits there with half of the collapsed bridge on top of it, FBI agents boarded the ship and they announced that they have opened a criminal investigation. Now, when this happened, a lot of people thought it looked weird. But the way I see it, I feel like we kind of got to be careful in today's day and age because there's a lot of weird stuff happening for sure. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think can just be easily explained away, but accidents also happen. Coincidences happen sometimes. Things happen in life. And we have to remember not to forget that. No matter how crazy the world is, and I agree that there's usually people pulling the strings behind a lot of this nonsense, but also accidents do happen. Now, the excuse was that the ship was losing power. In the videos, you see the ship going in one direction. You see the lights flickering and going off, and that's supposedly them losing power. And then the ship turns and hits the bridge. A lot of people thought that this was done on purpose, right? I'm not necessarily on that camp. I can't tell you if this was done on purpose or not. But apparently the FBI is looking into it. And I think that's a good thing. Because I thought they were just going to let this story go away and we weren't going to hear about it anymore. And in my opinion, I'm not saying that there has to be some big conspiracy behind why this happened. But to immediately shut down the possibilities that this was done on purpose or there's some type of intentions behind what happened, I don't think that's good either. So I'm glad the FBI is investigating. I'm just wondering what caused them to do this now. And, I think it might be the fact that ever since that bridge collapsed, we've had several situations almost just like it. Luckily, it wasn't as bad. They were able to stop some of the situations from happening. But after that bridge collapse, it's like all of a sudden, people out here in the waters don't know how to control their barges or boats anymore. And now rogue barges are just floating down, the riverways, about to hit bridges every single day now. It's really weird. But let's go ahead and dive into what's going on here. The container ship Dolly is stuck under parts of the Francis Scott Bridge after the ship hit the bridge March 26, 2024 in Baltimore. The FBI is now conducting a criminal investigation into the deadly collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge that is focused on the circumstances leading up to it and whether all federal laws were followed. The FBI says Monday, April 15th, it was present conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity. The FBI is conducting a criminal investigation into the deadly collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge that is focused on the circumstances leading up to it and whether all federal laws were followed according to someone familiar with the matter. The person was not authorized to discuss details of the investigation publicly. The FBI was aboard the cargo ship Dolly, conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity, the agent said in a statement on Monday. It didn't elaborate and said it wouldn't comment any further on the investigation. Meanwhile, Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott on Monday announced a partnership with 2 law firms to launch legal action to hold the wrongdoers responsible and to mitigate harm to city residents. I want to pause right there. So, they automatically told us this is an accident. The ship lost power, right? That's what they told us. And they made it seem like everyone was crazy for questioning things. And personally, I wasn't someone that was really questioning things much. But they made it seem like everyone was like batshit crazy for thinking that something weird might have gone on here. But now here we are a couple of weeks later, and we got the FBI on board investigating, and now the mayor's got law firms working with him to hold the wrongdoers accountable. I don't get it. I thought there were no wrongdoers in this situation. Who are the wrongdoers? Are we holding the ship responsible for losing power? Or are y'all suggesting that there was either incompetence or like malice involved in this situation? Because it seems to me like when you're talking about we're going to hold the wrongdoers accountable, then there has to be wrongdoers involved in the situation. But we're told there was no wrongdoing, that the ship just malfunctioned. So that doesn't make sense. And like I always tell you, you got to pay attention to how they word things, because these people are wording things like they know something that we don't. After telling us that we're crazy for thinking that there's something weird about the ship crashing into a bridge, now we have an FBI investigation and the mayor talking about holding those responsible accountable. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. All I know is like they're telling us one thing and then they're doing another. But let's go ahead and dive back in. The massive Dolly left Baltimore's port in the early hours of March 26, laden with cargo and headed for Sri Lanka, when it struck one of the bridge's supporting columns, causing the span to collapse into the river and sending 6 members of a roadwork crew plunging to their deaths. Divers have recovered 3 of the 6 bodies from the wreckage. National Transportation Safety Board Chair Jennifer Hamidi said last week that investigators were focusing on the ship's electrical power system. The ship experienced power issues moments before the crash, as is evident in videos that show its lights going out and coming back on. Hamidi said information gleaned from the vessel's voyage data recorder is relatively basic, so that information in the engine room will help us tremendously. In his statement announcing the partnership with law firms, Scott said the city will take decisive action to hold responsible all entities accountable for the Key Bridge tragedy, including the owner, the charter, the manager, the operator, and the manufacturer of the Dolly, as well as any other potentially liable third parties. He said, with the ship's owner already seeking to limit the company's liability, the city needs to act quickly to protect its own interest. The investigation comes amid concerns about the safety of thousands of U.S. bridges and days after more than 24 river barges broke loose and struck a closed span bridge in Pittsburgh. Here's what I want people to understand. And I've explained this before, but I need to explain it again because we have new people watching every video. People aren't looking at things like this bridge collapsing and creating these conspiracies. They're not thinking that there's more to it just because the bridge collapsed. People aren't viewing these situations as isolated situations. If the bridge collapsing in Baltimore was an isolated situation and we didn't have all of this other crazy stuff going on, I don't think people would question it as much. You know, when you have a plane crash, people don't question it that much, but now people are questioning plane crashes a lot because every single day another plane is crashing or another plane is malfunctioning upon takeoff and things of that nature. When it comes to train derailments, if a single train derails, people aren't really going to question things too much. But when you see on the news that trains are derailing every single day, it's no longer an isolated situation, and people start to question things. What is causing all of these planes to crash and malfunction? What's causing all of these trains to derail? And, you know, with all of that going on, including these crazy fires at warehouses that are happening out of nowhere, you know, now people are looking at this bridge and they're looking at it with the thought in mind about all of these airplanes crashing, all of the trains derailing, all of the warehouses exploding and catching on fire. Everyone has all of that information in their mind when they're looking at this bridge collapsing. So they're not looking at the bridge collapse as an isolated situation. They're looking at it like it may be part of something bigger. Because right now in America, if you're paying attention, you can't deny it. A lot of you all aren't paying attention. Or better yet, most of you watching this video probably are. There's a lot of people out there that aren't paying attention. So when they see you say, oh, I don't know, I think there's something behind this bridge collapse, they think you're freaking crazy. But they don't understand that there's been over 100 plane crashes in the last month or two. They don't understand that over a dozen trains derailed, spilling chemicals out within the past couple of months. They don't understand that right after this bridge collapsed, we had another situation where a bridge was about to collapse, and then another situation, and then this boat hit a bridge, and then that boat hit a bridge, right? They don't understand everything that's going on. So they look at these situations as isolated situations, not viewing the bigger picture. But we see the bigger picture. And that's why we think there may be more to these stories, even though sometimes there's not more to the story. And when it comes to the bridge in Baltimore, there may not be more to the story, but guess what? The FBI seems to believe that there may be. That's why they've opened a criminal investigation. Now, when you look at all of this stuff happening across America, the plane crashes, the train derailments, all of this, you have to ask yourself, what is causing this? Because things weren't always this way. I don't care what they try to gaslight you into believing. You weren't waking up every day with another bridge collapsing, another plane crashing, another train derailing, and another food processing plant going up in flames. That wasn't how life always was. This is how life has been over the past few years, and they try to normalize it like it's normal. It's not normal, okay? So the question is, what is causing all of this? Is it incompetence? Are we hiring stupid, incompetent people that don't know how to do their jobs anymore, so everything's falling apart? Or is this being done on purpose? That's the question on everyone's mind that's paying attention. But I want to read you all this little saying. It goes a little something like this. It's actually called Henlon's Razor. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Meaning, some bad things happen not because of people having bad intentions, but because they did not think it through properly. That's a saying that is on my mind a lot these days. But in my mind, it's kind of working in the reverse. In my mind, I'm thinking, never attribute to stupidity that which is adequately explained by malice. What I think is happening here, possibly, with a lot of things in the country right now, is that they want us to just think everyone's stupid, right? The country's falling apart. All of these mistakes are being made. We're entering into dozens of wars. It's going crazy, and they want you to think, oh, it's because of incompetence. Everyone's just stupid. Sorry, the president doesn't know any better. Oh, sorry, the defense minister doesn't know any better. She doesn't know any better. No one knows any better. All of this is just because people are stupid, right? That's kind of what I believe they want you to think. They're hiding behind the guise of stupidity while they're doing malicious things. They're doing evil things, and they want you to believe it's just because they're stupid, when in reality, their intentions are to do evil things. But with all of that being said, we're going to have to watch how this investigation plays out. I don't necessarily think that they're going to come before us like Scooby-Doo and be like, yeah, here's the guy that was purposely purposely crashed into the bridge. I don't think we'll see that, but at the very least, I'm glad that they're kind of looking into the situation. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up. If you would like to donate, you can donate via Cash App or Super Thanks, or for free, you can help the channel by subscribing, liking the video, sharing the video, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon at the next one.